Hi everybody, and welcome back to Hex Token. Your host, Superman in the house. Man, have we got a video for you? Pulsechain, DeFi future boosted by 3 stablecoins. You heard it right, folks. Not one, not two, but 3. And this is what we know so far. USDL, CST, and XSD. You heard it right. Let's get into it. And I hope you like that, Sean, a picture there, because that's how awesome this is going to be. Let's go. And of course, what's important about stablecoins? Stablecoins are important for Pulsechain and DeFi big time. And of course, they're going to amplify everything that Richard Hart and his devs are doing. They are building out a vertical integration ecosystem made of Pulsechain, PulseX, of course, looking to on-ramps and off-ramps, and of course, as well as a new MetaMask. So pretty awesome. But in the meantime, a lot of other people are building massive things around that to make the ultimate ecosystem. So when Pulsechain launches, it's going to be truly, truly powerful in the old crypto ecosphere there. So stablecoins are important for Pulsechain and DeFi. Let's check out some of the reasons and, of course, the use cases here. Payments, of course, cross-border, business-to-business, international trade. You're right, folks, going to attract a lot of attention in that space, and then people want stablecoins for that and the technology to do that through on Pulsechain. And, of course, e-commerce as well is huge. And, of course, that's more and more people are going to start using the stablecoins on the blockchain for that. For purchases and merch and things like that. So it's going to be pretty cool. Neutral position in crypto, of course, people like to have a neutral position as opposed to being in variable crypto that moves up and down. I'd like to have a neutral position there, or at least part of their portfolio in any case. Extra exchange, of course, settlements. That basically means exchanges between exchanges. So they like to transfer assets at a stable value. Of course, they can use stables too. And we're looking forward to have many exchanges come over to Pulsechain. And it's very excited. We know that EB Exchange is going to be out there with Overwatch, Rack Michelle, and everything blockchain. So we're excited about that. We're looking forward to more and more come over. Rich has also hinted at another exchange coming already, one of the bigger ones. And we know what happens once a few come. It not just rain, but it pours exchanges. So looking forward to that. Obviously, we're looking for remittances and settlements. So people want to do those sort of things. They're going to need stable coins as well and maintain that value. Let's look at something else. Risk management against market volatility, obviously huge. When people think the market's going down, the bear market, they need to be able to move out in stable coins. When they think it's going up, they want to sell the stable coins and buy crypto. It's just the way it goes. And, of course, one way of preserving the US dollar value. The other thing, of course, is banking, lending. People like to deposit their stable coins, earn a modest return, as opposed to having risky cryptos and that risk return trade-off. The other one as well is lending. People like to borrow stable coins to go buy risky cryptos and do all sorts of things like debt swaps, interest rate swaps, flash loans, and many other things. So there's lots of different opportunities there. DApps and smart contracts, of course, need stable coins to sometimes anchor their products. So that's pretty cool. And, of course, liquidity, providing liquidity, stable coins is a great way of managing impermanent losses as well, IL. And, of course, especially if you've got two stable coins locked together. The other thing, of course, is escrow. People like to put some stable coins in escrow for whatever reason, maybe a DAO or something like that. So maybe some legal activity. Now, that's pretty much a lot of the big benefits, and I'm sure there's lots more. There's definitely some of the cool ones. So what actual stable coins are coming to Pulsechain? And, of course, let's see. We have an embarrassment of riches straight out of the gate. And, of course, we haven't even launched Pulsechain yet, but it's coming. 3 native stable coins on Pulsechain. Yes, please. Let's get into it, of course. A liquid loans, of course, a fork of Liquidity on Ethereum. Obviously, when Terra Luna and other products were going down, Liquidity was soaring. And, of course, Liquidity didn't even launch at the beginning of Ethereum. I think it was something like 5 years later. And, of course, imagine Liquid Loans launching 4 to 6 weeks after Pulsechain. Right at the beginning, the value chain could be absolutely massive with some of the use cases on Liquid Loans, particularly leveraging up Pulse and other assets. It's going to be pretty exciting. So let's get into it. It's a dual token system with the loan token. Obviously, there was a big sacrifice, over $1 million sacrifice for that. And, of course, that's a pretty big deal. If you haven't checked out my video I posted yesterday, it goes through all the sacrifices. Man, oh man, is it a good video. So check that out. Obviously, USDL is the stable coin. So that's the dual token. And, of course, you can put your PLS in. And, of course, you can get the USDL stable coin. I imagine that this is going to flood through a lot of liquidity trading pairs. It's going to be incredibly powerful little stable coin. The advantage, of course, unlike Terra Luna, which was endogenously backed by Ethereum, for example, it's going to be backed by its own token. It's Luna. It's going to actually be exogenously backed by Pulse. So it's very, very powerful. And that means it's a token outside the system. So USDL is not backed by the loan token. It's backed by Pulse. and of course that will rise in value up and down with the Pulse there. Very, very exciting. You will also be able to redeem USDL back for your original Pulse as well, dollar for dollar, so pretty exciting there. The other thing it's going to have, the system's going to have over-collateralization, which basically means that the overall system has to be about 150% collateralized. And of course, the maximum risk taking is 110% collateralized. So anything under 150 would become in the liquidation potentially if needed to. So it does over-collateralize. And these two things together, exogenously backed by Pulse and over-collateralized, help give a very good stablecoin as opposed to bad setups like endogenous ones like Terra Luna, and of course centralized ones that are controlled by centralized banks, for example, which can control who can buy and sell, and no one wants that. So that's pretty cool. The other thing, of course, is that you can stake the loan token, and you can earn, and you can stake USDL, and of course you can earn Pulse, USDL, and loan token. So it's pretty fun there. So it's pretty nice. Obviously, the stable USDL is going to be pretty popular in my view. The other one, of course, is Coast Stable. Stablecoin, of course, it's recently announced by the Coast team, who have already issued the weight token. And of course, that is part of the gamification for Pulsechain, waiting for until Pulsechain launches. Of course, that's going to launch. That's pretty awesome. Very exciting to see this come onto the platform. Now, this offers one of the other good one that we know of, obviously an exogenous backed stablecoin like liquid loans, but also having a fiat backed one is pretty awesome. And of course, it's nice to have that diversification to have stablecoins with different types of backing and gamification. Now, there's a triple token, weight, tide, and CST stable. Now, we don't know. I've got inverted comments there because we don't know whether these are going to be interrelated in any way. But of course, the CST there, the Coast stable coin, is going to be potentially play a very powerful role as a fiat-backed one, just like USDC, for example. But we'll have our own version. It's going to potentially be backed one CST to $1 fiat, and of course, it's pretty powerful. You as a user get to issue a CST stable based on fiat that you send to an account. And of course, that's pretty neat, right? So there's no middle person. Therefore, it's non-custodial, no one in the middle there, no centralized organization. And of course, the Coast team will only be administrators only. They will not be custodians. And of course, they will arrange the bank arrangements where everyone gets to put their stable coins and manage it from that way. But it's going to be pretty exciting. They're going to start off in the USA, of course, state by state. Obviously, they've got to the biggest thing is not so much the code and the mechanisms, but just the and probably not even the banking, but just getting the regulations in play for state by state. So looking forward to that. Now, they've been doing this for about a year, so we'll look forward to seeing them get over certain milestones in October, November there with the banks and so forth. So looking forward to that. Let's see how they get on. And of course, they will also be providing additional services on-ramp, off-ramp with that stablecoin, right? So it's not just a stablecoin, but it's an on-ramp, off-ramp there. And of course, you can redeem as well as issue or mint, which is pretty good. Now, obviously, BankX is on the play as well. And some of you may not have heard BankX. Some of you may have heard of it. And of course, let's have a look at it. So it's going to be dual token, BankX, and of course, the BankX Silver Dollar or XSD. Trying to say that really fast. And of course, that is going to be coming as well. Now, this is going to be multi-chain, so not just Pulsechain, but multi-chain. So they'll be going to be launching on BNB first, then on other EVM chains like Phantom there. And of course, they'll roadmap all the way through to Pulsechain. I think they're looking at somewhere like 11 to 15 different chains actually all up. But this could be an important contributor to Pulsechain with DeFi and stablecoins. Now, obviously, they've currently got a sacrifice currently on at the moment. Of course, it's quite a way through it. The early multiplier was 5x, I think 5.1x. It is down to about 1.25 or something like that, but it's still open. I think they're company up maybe around $1.5 to $2 million so far, I think, so far. Partially exogenous backed PLS. You've got to remember that Coast Stable has no sacrifice, which is pretty cool. I like that. Partially exogenously backed PLS. So that's pretty important. So when I say partially, meaning that you can take the native token. So for example, PLS, if it was on Ethereum, it'd be ETH. If it was on BNB, which they're launching first, which would be a BNB, then you've got partially backed there. Because you can also use BankX as well, apparently, to issue the stablecoin as well. Now, they do have quite a few other mechanisms in there. So this is just a quick summary about it. The other thing, of course, is the inflation will be linked to the silver price of 1 gram, which I think is probably a good approach in terms of the silver price. That's likely to go up over time. We saw recently Kiyosaki say that's a good poor man's investment. over the next couple of years, particularly in high inflation, because expecting that to go up something like 3 to 5x there. We will see. It's currently about $19 somewhere in that ballpark. So that's going to be pretty good with the inflation side of things. Obviously, this is sort of borrowing from the HEX contract with the staking. They will have staking PLS and BankX certificate of deposit, so you'll be able to do that. So the bank certificate deposit there is pretty much like that. They've kind of borrowed from a couple of profiles there. I think they're probably, we're going to see how well they do. If there's any Terra Luna stuff, they used to look at that. Pretty much they've been looking at Uniswap, HEX, and of course Frax, I think it was. So they've kind of a bit of a hybrid product between that. They do have pretty high-powered mathematician that's done a lot of the math, so that should bode well also. But of course, they've got to keep trying to hold a peg. So hopefully they don't have risk too much and have too much exposure to a kind of Terra Luna type of approach there. They do have a ratio drawdown, so the supporting token does get ratioed between the native stable, say PLS, and of course BankX in terms of issuance, and inflation is relatively low and linked to the silver price there, or can be. Sometimes that may actually be quite high. And of course they have to get back to peg. So there's possibly a few issues there, but once again, staking PLS and bank certificate, it's got collateralization there with obviously the PLS and BankX, and they're going to be multi-chain. It's going to be pretty interesting. So how much of a Terra Luna type of composition in there? You might argue with the BankX. It does have a mechanism for managing that. We'll see how that holds up. So we really have 3 different types of stablecoins, which is really good to have this diversified approach, really covering some of the best tokenomics out there for stablecoins. So it's nice to have this diversification. In any case, we'll see once BankX launches on BNB how successful they are, and that would bode well if they are successful, bode well for Pulsechain launch as well. So very exciting. Let's have a look at some of the interfaces quickly. And of course, we don't have anything for Coaster that I'm aware of, but we do have the BankX. This is an old snapshot here from I think a month or two ago, a couple of months maybe. Well, actually from the end of the last year, I think. So they've probably updated this a little bit there. And of course, here is the latest one from Liquid Loans that we've been testing on Pulsechain. Very, very exciting. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. That's going to be awesome for Pulsechain. Hope you really gain some insights out of this. And don't forget to subscribe, like, share, hit the bell, and catch me for the next one. More great videos around Pulsechain coming up. And I'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now. Peace.